Chad Wolf tweets out, is Kamala Harris's new campaign ad promoting President Trump's border wall?
Shameless.
Yeah. Does she now support constructing a border wall? Numerous images of steel bollard designed a wall with an anti-climb plate atop, designed and constructed under President Trump. So Kamala is now trying to position herself as hawkish on the border. And so she put out the following ad. And yes, very noticeable in this ad are multiple shots of the Trump border wall that they seem so offended by just a short period of time ago. So here's the ad.
Harris has spent decades fighting violent crime. As a border state prosecutor, she took on drug cartels and jailed gang members for smuggling weapons and drugs across the border. As vice president,
there's one shot of the wall. Did you see that? All right, so here, let's see how many. Let's count how many times it appears.
Kamala Harris has spent decades fighting violent crime. As a border state prosecutor, she took on drug cartels and jailed gang members for smuggling weapons and drugs across the border. As vice president, she backed the toughest border control bill in decades. And as president, she will hire thousands more border agents and crack down on fentanyl and human trafficking.
4.
Fixing the border is tough. So is Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
All right, so 4 appearances in a 30-second ad of Trump's border wall. And, yeah, I mean, he highlights that there. Wasn't lost on this tweeter here. This is why, you know, despite the many stumbles of Donald Trump over this past month, the race is just so winnable for him. Because on the 2 most important issues on voters' mind, inflation and immigration, it's just impossible for Democrats to make an argument. As far as inflation, the rate of price increases has slowed to about 3% now. But that doesn't mean prices are going down. It means the rate at which they're going up has slowed. But of course, at the end of 2023, they were already way up from Trump-era pricing, even taking out the disturbances of the pandemic. Like, go back to 2019, it's you know, you can't even really account for that in that formulation. It is just incredible how much more shit costs now. So there is no argument that makes sense from a political standpoint for the Democrats on that issue. There's just no way to trick people into thinking that groceries are more affordable than they are, as much as they try and spin it that way. And on this issue, as you can see in this ad here, 4 appearances of Trump's border wall in 30 seconds. The Democrats have completely conceded this argument to Donald Trump, so much so that Trump's position on immigration is now the center. And that is really a remarkable shift from 9 years ago when he announced his candidacy. Don't forget, folks, the birth of Trump derangement syndrome, the genesis of Trump derangement syndrome, was the Trump Tower speech where he said they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some I think are good people, right? That was the first time when everybody was like, can you believe he said that as a candidate for office? Wow. That was just so out of bounds. That was far to the right of the Overton window. Don't forget, Mitt Romney lost in 2012 largely because he tanked with Hispanic voters, 25% of the Hispanic vote. And the consensus in Republican circles is that he, Mitt Romney, was too hawkish on immigration. So for Trump to go out and say that was just completely crazy, to the point where most Republicans, remember Fox News was dead set against Trump in the early days of that primary. They're like, no way can we nominate this guy. Talking like this, you'll never win. Cut to 9 years later, that's the center. That's the center. The Democrats have given the issue to him. So between inflation, where there's nothing they can say at all, and this issue where they are just punting and giving him the win, that keeps Trump in the game no matter what. No matter what.
Well, with inflation, they just keep claiming the economy's great and, stop down talking America.
Right.
Basically, they're reformulating Hillary's America is already great. They're just reformulating.
You can already afford bananas.
You are you living in a box? Well, some of you, but you're not voting anyway because you don't have an address to register. But the rest of you, America is great. Yeah, they're just doing that. Yeah. This is why for one thing with this, it really demonstrates, and I think we've seen this very starkly over the last 8 years at the least. Yeah, man. I mean, for people who really see themselves as Democrats, like that's part of their identity, they don't have a line. Like they don't have politics. And this is just one more example of it. There's absolutely nothing that you could message to them that they weren't being told to despise the day before, that they won't then do the double think on themselves. No, we were always for border security.
Right.
No, we were always for a wall. It's very Orwellian. We always wanted a wall. What do you mean? We were always trying to pass sensible border legislation. There is no limit. There's a genocide going on all over social media, all over the corporate media to an extent that is honestly surprising. That's how bad it is. You can find a lot of places like CNN doing legitimate reporting on the conditions in Gaza. So you know about it. This isn't just on Consortium News, which you've never heard of. And yeah, there's absolutely no limit. When you push Democrats on this, they'll feebly say, well, what am I supposed to do? Vote for Trump? That's all they can say. So if genocide is not your limit, you don't have one. And if you can be told one day Donald Trump is a monster for his border wall, even though Bill Clinton advocated for a wall or a fence, so did Hillary Clinton earlier in her career, that was already a flip. That was anathema because Donald Trump proposed it.
Right.
Now the next day, Kamala's proposing it. Yep. She's going to be tough on the border. These people are fucking mindless. They are mindless to an extent that is every accusation is a confession. It's often said when Democrats call Republicans mindless, it is a confession. There is no, hey, we have no investment in either team. I'm not biased towards the Republicans, but I am telling you from my personal observation and interactions, there is no more mindless group in the country than vote blue, no matter who Democrats. None, bar none.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you were to do a word cloud in, tied to Donald Trump's 2016 campaign, what is the one word you associate most with Trump? Yeah. I mean, racist, sexist is number one amongst the lib crowd. Number three would be wall. Like that's it. That was the metaphor for his campaign that year was the wall. That was it.
To actually put it in your campaign ad
4 times in a 30-second ad.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. That was supposed to be so stupid, right? It was a medieval idea. It was so dumb. You can't keep people out that way. Why is it in your fucking ad then?
And it wasn't like incidentally in the ad. They had shots where the sun is piercing through the wall. Right? I mean, like it was a featured role in that ad.
Well, it's the same thing with the tips. And I did look into that. And yes, Kamala Harris did cast the deciding vote on taxing tips.
Yeah.
Now she's against it.
Please clap.